Eskil, yeah, that is a tough question to answer.
I want to soak up as much wisdom as possible.
I love it.
I wouldn't be without them.
We're in this together.
We position ourselves in a circle or in a line by age. The young man will be here and all the way around the ages until the oldest man is next to the youngest man. I've often been the youngest, so having the oldest by my one side and the next youngest man by the other, and directly across from me is the man right in the middle. Welcome to Manifesto and welcome to this video about intergenerational relationships between men. My name is Eskil, I am 26 years old. Usually I make videos in Danish, directed at Danish boys and young men, channeling some of the wisdom and insight that I'm gaining from my connection with older men, especially also. Ask the men in my men's group, what are the best things about connecting to older or younger men, as well as what are the most irritating things? Because an older man also advised me to also always get both sides. Man, there's so much wisdom there. Please remember to subscribe to the Manifesto channel. Make sure that you're reminded when new content comes.
When I'm talking with elders, I am just delighted and fulfilled and nourished.
When I approach an older man with all of my drama and all of my chaos and how am I going to figure this out, you know, they're able to just sit down and breathe and, you know, not get all high arousal about it.
I love it. I think it's great to have them in the group. I don't know if it's my projection or not, but they provide a certain solidness.
I want to soak up as much knowledge, as much wisdom as possible from somebody who has been there.
There's a certain type of wisdom. They don't need so much anymore. They don't need to prove themselves so much anymore. They give so much to a certain extent by only being present.
I love older men and I wouldn't be without them.
Sure, Eskil, yeah, that is a tough question to answer. For me, a listening ear is almost the best thing. Yeah, there is a bit of wisdom, there is a bit of groundedness, there is a bit of, okay, I've been there, done that.
Older people have been where we are. So the challenges, you know, they keep on repeating themselves. They have seen enough of this to be able to look through it.
You talk about something that comes in your life and it goes away, but it puts on a different mask and it comes back again. It's actually the same thing, but it's just wearing a different mask. And maybe older men can recognize that a bit more easily.
And directly across from me is the man right in the middle, signifying, you know, the peak of strength. He will look at the young man and the old man, closest to birth, closest to death, closest to the source.
Men in their 40s have generally, you know, done their experimenting and trying to find their way, and they've now kind of settled into something. Whereas you find younger men seem to still have a lot of energy of saying, where am I going? What am I actually going to do?
I wouldn't want to be in a men's group with men only around 26 years old. The value of the experience that I'm gaining from the middle-aged men who are just role models for me in the mature masculine.
Yeah, young men certainly have a lot more energy, whereas more middle-aged men are now more settled in what they're doing, and they're a little bit more purposeful in where they're going to go.
What's the best thing about relating to younger men? There's a vibrancy in the life energy and a sense of almost unlimited possibility.
There's a tremendous amount of energy. I suppose as we get older, it's easy for us to vegetate and to get sort of stuck in our thinking and our ways. And so for me to interact with young men and pick up that energy and that vibrancy and the challenges that the young men face.
Predominantly is also the fresh energy. Yeah, so I like it. I also like to consider myself still as young. Who doesn't?
And I find it very honoring to have the role of being a mentor.
We run alongside each other. We face similar challenges. We're in the same stage in life. We often match the pace and energy of life. That's just day-to-day teammates.
Some of these guys are in their 20s or in their 30s, and it's always great also to feel where they are at and where I am at, and that I have actually something to offer for them.
To tell somebody about the wrongs I was doing and to be able to direct somebody in the way I wasn't directed.
I think in my sons, as I see them, taking on board stuff and implementing it and working it out in their own lives, and that they're negotiating all these obstacles that they're going through, and I just love seeing that because it's so rewarding.
The shared sense of possibility and the respect for the different ranges of life experience and energy that's present in the relationship.
They have grown up in a different, with a different set of values, with a different set of, for instance, technology, and that's always interesting to have their input on, the more tougher questions that we have in our men's groups.
That's one of the best things about being with younger men in that context, where we recognize we're all in this together, and we need each other to succeed.
What's the most irritating in relating to older men? Sometimes a bit of a judgment from older men, or like, I don't know if that's the way to go. Well, with topics like sexuality, with topics like open relationships.
I'm constantly reminded, bring it down a notch. And not the authenticity and everything, but the pace. Bring it down.
There's a tendency to put all the responsibility for the future of the world onto younger men or younger people in general. I think this is an incredibly unfair thing.
I really feel that it's not good for older men to be overbearing and say, you've got to this or you've got to that.
All of us as older people have had a part to play in the shape of the world and the society the way it is.
The wisdom is there. It takes effort for a young man like me to extract that wisdom.
The other problem that I sometimes have with older men is that I find myself in a place where I think that I know it. And then, an older man gives his perspective, and then,
I am painfully reminded about what is working and what's not working.
It's actually resonating with me, but that it's still, but I don't want to go there yet.
I know what's good for myself, but I'm not always congruent, and I don't always have integrity with what I know is the best for me.
Sometimes they can be pretty certain about how they, what their stance is in life.
I think with young men in their conversations, everybody's trying to put across their idea and not too many are listening.
Talking to a younger person is also ego confrontational.
Sometimes you see younger men going in a certain direction and you think like, oh no, my God, don't go there. And sometimes you want to warn them, but you also realize, it doesn't make sense to warn them. They need to go through it.
It's something about the ego coming in and saying, no, that person deserves to suffer as much as I did.
Across from us, we will always have the man in the other end of the spectrum to help bring us that energy. And as many of the men touch upon in this video, the older men, they need the energy from younger men to really stay connected, because as we grow older, our purpose becomes less and less the active doing, providing and working and fighting and whatever men do in their lives, and it becomes more the position of wisdom. The wisdom keepers who have had all these experiences, who've seen all the circles and the patterns, and who can bring the last word, who can sit at the end of the table and provide the wisdom. And as well for the younger men, we're all energy. We haven't tried a lot, but we have passion, we have drive, and we're just going on and on and on. And the middle-aged men, they both need the passionate energy, but they need the wisdom as well. And the men in the middle, they're the bosses. They're the ones that need to take the charge.
So good. I'm so happy we're doing this talk. How could I do
a video on intergenerational relationships, just from my side. That would be lacking.
Thanks for listening. My name is Paul, and I'm the co-founder of MANIPHESTO. We're an umbrella organization for people who share our vision of renewing and restoring man. So we run online men's groups, a facilitated training program, and the European Men's Gathering. And to succeed with our mission, we need people like you to engage. So if you enjoyed this, then please subscribe here or check out our website to join our core community.